guys, it's Kelly, and today I want to share with you my December book haul, though this also covers like November and December books I bought in the last couple months. And for those of you that are new to one of my book hauls, in 2018, every time I have bought a book, I have given $1 to a charity that involves something in the way of education. If you would like to skip straight to the haul, I will put the timestamp down below, but I would love for you to stay and hear about the charity. And the reason I have been doing this, I don't know if I ever fully explained, was that, I'm at a place in my life where I can afford to buy books, and we are well enough off that I can have some fun money for myself to go towards my hobby, and I love books. But I know that there are others that don't have that ability, and so I want to be able to make it so that other people can have books as well that might be from lower income areas and make education more equal for all. Obviously I can't do that by myself, but that's also why I put this in my videos, so that other people can learn about charities that they might want to donate towards. If you have a passion for books, maybe you would like to also donate towards some of these charities. And the charity I picked for today is called First Book. And this organization their goal is to create equal access to quality education, which is exactly what I was saying before, so that they donate high quality new books and educational resources, sports equipment, winter coats, anything that educators need in a community that might be a low income community. And so they work directly with educators to see what that school needs. They also do disaster relief, and in their disaster relief area, they give 100% of profits that are donated to disaster relief to those communities. So if you donate through their disaster relief, your donation will go 100% to providing books and educational resources to communities that might have had those resources wiped out in the disaster. So right now they're collecting for the California wildfires and for communities affected by hurricanes. And so that is what I'm choosing to give to this time, and hope that they will have that money to be able to, I'm sure libraries and schools that got a lot of damage probably lost a lot of their resources during these natural disasters, and so that's why I would like to give my money towards that. So now let's get straight into the haul. And a lot of these books came from a Black Friday book outlet buying, but I'm going to start with the books that didn't. So I have a stack that came kind of from various places. So the first one was a book I got for free. I went to a group of moms that was doing a book exchange. So we all brought books that we didn't want anymore, and we exchanged them with each other. So I got this book for free. And this book was Kindred by Octavia Butler. And this is about a modern day black woman who has sent back into the antebellum South to a plantation, and I think that she goes back and forth in time. I didn't read a lot into it, but I had heard it recommended. I think it was recommended by the channel Ghost Reader. I will link him down below. And then the next two are from Goodwill, which this Goodwill had their books for 75 cents, so can't beat that. And I got two classics, and the first was Anna Karenina, which I'm not going to tell you what it's about since it's kind of a well-known classic, and it's huge, and I never really thought I was going to buy this book, but I thought for 75 cents I will give it a try and see if I can get through it. And then the other one is more of a modern classic because I think it was written in the 1900s, and that is The Heart is the Lonely Hunter. And this is about a small town in the South, and I think the main character is a deaf mute and kind of his relationship with the other people in his town. And then the next few came from my library book sale. I love this library in this small town in Ohio. They have a constant library sale, and there must be people in this area that just buy a lot of new books and give them away, because there's always newer releases, and the paperbacks there are 50 cents. So if I see something that's on my TBR, I'm gonna pick it up for 50 cents. So the first one is Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris, and this is a thriller, and I think it's a domestic thriller about a couple and their relationship being a little off, or the neighbors and those in their life kind of feel like something's going on in this marriage. That's about all I know since it's a thriller. The next one is The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. Obviously, she is the one that wrote Twilight, and I wasn't a huge fan of Twilight, but I did like The Host, and it's been a long time since I read it, so I don't know if it would still be my style, but I thought I would give this one a try for 50 cents. And I believe it's about a woman that used to work for the U.S. government, and now she's like on the run because she has information that somebody is trying to like kill her for, or something like that. And then I have The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, and this is an adult, I think, literary fiction kind of book about a man who owns a bookstore. That's about all I know, but, you know, anytime there's like a cute story about somebody that owns a bookstore, I kind of want to just read it, and because owning a bookstore, that's like the like dream, other than like bookstores are going out of business now, so it's not really a feasible dream, so I like to vicariously read about other people having that dream. And then the last one from the library was Tell the Wolves I'm Home, and this is a adult novel again, but it is about a young girl that was really close to her uncle, and then her uncle passed away, and while at her uncle's funeral she meets a man that she had never like met before, and I think it turns out to, from the like description, I think it might have been like her uncle's significant other. I don't know. So I think there is some LGBT representation in this, as well as just a family story. Alright, and so that's all the ones I got at other locations, and now I have, the rest of these are all from Book Outlet, and I did their Black Friday sale, which I think everything was like 30% off or something like that. And if you don't know what Book Outlet is, I think you should go check it out. They just sell books that are like, what is it called when there's like too many books? When a store has like, why can't I think of that word? You know what I mean, when they have excess and they're getting rid of their books, and so they're newer books usually, but just that they're lower prices because they had too many of them printed. And the first one, I kind of separate these into categories, and the first category is an entire series, and this might seem a little funny because this is a series that I read the first book, I had owned the first book, and I read it last month, and I even like gave the review on here, and I gave it a low review, so you would think I wouldn't want to continue series, but I gave reasons why. And so the first book was The Thief by Megan Wallen Turner, and I bought the rest of the Queen's Thief series, which is The Queen of Attolia, The King of Attolia, and A Conspiracy of Kings. There's another one that came out, but it's new, so it's still in hardback, so I only got the 3 that were out already before. And I did rate The Thief a little lower, but that's because universally in the reviews, everybody says that that book's kind of more like the setup for the series, and that once you get into the Queen of Attolia, it gets a lot more dramatic and like into the politics and a lot more excitement happening. The plot picks up, so I did want to continue. And since each of these were like, I think $3 on Book Outlet, I thought for $9 I'll just buy the whole series, and that way if I really get into it, I can just read them all and they'll be matching. So that's why I don't normally buy for series that I didn't rate the first book highly, but it worked out this time. And then the next set of books is all kind of like middle grade fantasy fairy tale kind of books, and the first 3 are all by the same author, and that's Gail, Carson, Levine. I had read Fairest, which was my first book by her a few weeks ago, and I enjoyed it, so since Book Outlet had these for a really good price, I thought I would get 3 more of her books and try them out. And I don't really know much about the plot of these, because I just know they're kind of fairy tale books, so I didn't really care what they're about. And the first was A Tale of Two Castles, and the next one is The Two Princesses of Bamarre, which I believe is about sisters that are princesses, and then Ella Enchanted, which I do know what this is about because I've seen the movie, and it is kind of a Cinderella retelling about a girl named Ella who her fairy godmother gives her the gift of obedience when she's little, so she has to like listen to everything people tell her directly to do, and she obviously has like the evil stepmother and stepsisters that make her life kind of miserable, and you guys know what happens in that story. And then the last of the kind of like theme is Princess Academy Palace of Stone by Shannon Hale. This is the second in the Princess Academy trilogy. I have read the entire trilogy, but I only owned the first book, so I went ahead and bought the second book because I would eventually like to own the whole trilogy because I do enjoy Shannon Hale's work. The next set of books is all thrillers, and so I probably don't know a lot about these books because I just kind of like look up the reviews, and if the reviews are pretty good, I give the thriller a try if it's for a good price. And the first one is The Secret She Keeps by Michael Robotham. And this is, all I know about this is about 2 women who are pregnant, and they meet and make an unlikely friendship. I think one is someone who is from a more low income and is working at a grocery store or a convenience store or something, and then the other woman is a more affluent woman, and like their unlikely friendship and what happens from there, the mystery. The next one is The Couple Next Door by Shari Lapena, and she's a pretty popular thriller author right now, and I've not read anything by her, so I just wanted to pick something up. I think this is a domestic thriller about some couples and their interaction. The next is called Confessions, and this is, I believe, by, I think it might be a Japanese author, and it is about a teacher whose daughter was killed by her peers, and I think the teacher is basically kind of gone a little nuts and is trying to get a confession out of the other kids and wants to get a little bit of revenge. The next one is The Passenger by Lisa Lutz. This is another more popular thriller author that I've never read, and this one is specifically about a woman who is on the run because her husband is found dead, and so we don't know if she did it, if she knows who did it, but she's on the run now. And then the last of the thrillers is Emma in the Night by Wendy Walker, and this one is about two sisters who went missing, and one shows back up some point later, I don't know, 3 years later, one of the sisters reappears. So that is all for the thrillers, and then my last section is just miscellaneous. So other books I got from Book Outlet. First one is called Benti. This is a really short novella, and I believe it's a trilogy, and it is about a woman who is one of the only first people from her area that has been given a entry into this university that is in space. That's all I know about it. It's sci-fi. It's supposed to be good. The next one is called The Red Parts by Maggie Nelson, and this is a nonfiction book, and it is about this author. Her aunt was murdered when she was young, and now that she's an adult, and I believe she's a journalist or something like that, or a writer, and so she starts looking more into her aunt's murder, and the trial, I think, gets redone. So I believe that there's more information about the case when she becomes an adult, and so she ends up at the trial of her aunt's murder. And I've heard a couple people read this and said that it was interesting, kind of like true crime from somebody that actually was involved or had a family member who was murdered. And the next one is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I think you guys know what this is about. I have read this, I think I read it 10 years ago, but I was at a stage in my life where I probably wasn't really into classics, and so I don't remember liking it. But now I know I really like all the BBC Jane Austen movies and miniseries, so I want to go back and actually read this at this point in my life when I am more tolerant of classics and like them a lot more. I think I was really more into fast-paced books when I was in my early 20s, so I want to give it another try. And I thought these covers are so funny. That they have two others in this series that are like Wuthering Heights and Romeo and Juliet, and don't they remind you of Twilight? So they make them look like YA paranormal romances, even though they're classics. So it just cracked me up, but it was really cheap, and I thought, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, so I would just get it in the cheaper price. And the next one is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and this is a really popular book on Booktube this year, and also in just all over. It is a book about it's a historical fiction about World War II. I don't really know much else about it other than that. I mean, I think it's told from two women's perspective, and I've heard that it is just amazing. And I had wanted to read this earlier in the year, but I ended up reading All the Light We Cannot See, and I didn't want to read two really big World War II books back to back, so I bought it at the end of the year, and I will read it sometime at the beginning of next year, now that I've had some distance. And the next one is called My Name is Leon, and I don't know a lot about this book, but I know it has something about the foster care system or adoption or something like that, and as soon as I hear that, I want to pick up a book if it has good ratings. This one had good reviews, so I just know it's about family and in some way involves the foster care or adoption. So if you want to know more about it, you can look it up, because I really didn't. Once I see that, since I am an adoptive mom, I just like to collect those stories and read them and kind of see what is out there in that genre. And then the last one is called The Names They Gave Us by Emery Lord. I have read almost all of Emery Lord's other books, and for the most part I've enjoyed them. The one I'm reading right now I'm not loving, but the first two I read by her I really liked, and so when I saw this is the first time I've seen the paperback on Book Outlet, I wanted to pick it up. I don't know exactly what it's about, but all of her books are kind of like YA contemporaries that usually have romance in them, but also have something a little deeper. I think this one, the main girl, her mother, her cancer is back, so there'll be like some of that family and grief dynamic at the same time as it being a romance, is what I'm assuming. So those are all my books, and if you want to know more about the charity I picked, First Book, I will link their website down below, and you can check it out. If you have read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them. All right, bye.